I'd like to say, you know, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less. We have a lot of bad criminals that came into this country, and they came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was.
And I think most people are like, okay, yeah, sure, bet. I completely understand, you know, get them out of here. But then he goes on to say, and he's like, it may be controversial, but I don't care. But we also have a lot of bad people who were born here.
But we also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
Now, if from my calculations, if they're correct, carry the 1 over the 0 and the 2, I think he means citizens. That's what I think he means, because that's the only people who are born here, okay? That we've been here for quite some time. And when you start mentioning criminals, because I started listening to what he was saying, talking about, oh, you know, you get pushed over by you know, into a subway and everything. I'm like, where is he getting this from?
But I think getting them out, you know, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents. They were done very much on purpose. People being pushed into a subway just before it arrives, going 40 miles an hour. And they're 10 feet away from where the thing is. You get pushed right into the face of the subway train, get whacked and killed. And these are sick people. I'd like to get them out of here, too.
And then I check it out. I'm like, oh, this is an actual story. Apparently, there was a black man who pushed somebody into the subway, and they were, you know, gravely injured. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. Now, aside from that story, who on God's green earth do you believe that they're talking to in the United States of America, or they're talking about when referencing criminals? Okay, I'll give you some time. Black people, that's who they're talking about. Us. That's what they're talking about.
Wake up, nigga.
To be more specific, black and brown. Okay, that's what. But they already have their way for the brown, because that's thanks to ICE and deportation. But now they had a problem with the black people, because one thing they didn't want is black people. They're like, oh man, goodness gracious, y'all are here. We got no way to get y'all out. So what we're gonna do is incarcerate y'all. That's what they did. Now they're talking about, well, now we got to figure out a way to get y'all up out of here, because the goal, you have to understand the goal, Stephen Miller and the racists that he has in his cabinet is an all-white society. It's an all-white country. They want to go back to like way back in the Naturalization Acts, because if you read the naturalization laws and stuff like that, it was for white citizens. That's what they want to go back to. That's what their white ignorant base wants to go back to. Now, do I think that they'll be able to survive? No, because racism it's like work for a worker bee. You ever know that if you put a worker bee and you give it nothing to do, it'll die. That's what'll that's what will happen. So if they try and do something like that, there will be some type of revolution. Because the only thing that's keeping the white ignorance at bay is the fact that they get to, you know, taunt, ridicule, demean, and belittle black Americans. That's
a United States citizen was almost deported, was arrested by the federal government, held, incarcerated for many days, and finally released when an attorney believed him. He was never not a citizen. Yeah, he's a black male. All right, let's get to it. Let's put up his picture full mask. Let me tell you about the horrific story, the thing that happened to Brian Buckle. Never should have happened, but it did. 62 years of age, was detained and almost deported to the British Virgin Islands because immigration officers refused to believe that he was a US citizen, and they refused to even check. Mr. Buckle, born in the British Virgin Islands, was automatically naturalized through his parents in the 1960s. He was 9 years of age. But in June 2020, while he thought he would be going home from prison to reunite with his son in time for Father's Day, he was told that Immigration and Customs, the enforcement, wanted him out of the country. So ICE said, you have to go. Here's a quote. I came this close to being deported and losing everything. A nightmare that has stayed with me to this day, Mr. Buckle said. Civil advocates believe Buckle was subjected to the treatment because of his race. The US government settled a wrongful arrest lawsuit with Mr. Buckle on December 5th for $150,000. Not enough money in my opinion, I will tell you why in a minute. Data shows that ICE
I had to run in with ICE. Monday night, September 29th, I was at home, minding my own business, and I heard a knock at the door. When I looked through the window, I could see people in uniform. They were wearing the green Army fatigue uniforms. When I answered the door, they pushed their way in, and is there anybody in here with? And I told them no. They said, we want you to come with us. And I'm like, what for? You know, what is this all about? And that's when they told me, they said, just shut up and come with us. At that point, I grabbed my backpack and I headed on out the door with them. When we got on the porch, they put my hands behind me. They put those zip ties, they put those on me. Once they got me outside, we came down the street to the corner. And when we got here, right on the corner, they had a lot of units, a lot of cars were out here. There was some press, members of the press out here. They had right about where that car is at.
Right where the blue car is, or the green-looking car.
Where that green-looking car is at. They had a budget renter truck. They put me up into the truck. When I got in the truck, there were already about maybe 10 people who were already in the truck. And then they started bringing more people. They had everybody in zip ties. We were in the truck for about, I'd say maybe 20, 25 minutes. Mm-hmm. They sealed the truck up and the truck pulled off. Next thing I know, they're unloading us and we were out at the facility in Broadview.
I'm going to ask you about, I want to know what the conditions were like inside, but let's go back a little bit. Mm-hmm. When they knocked on your door,
right,
and they told you to come out,
right,
did they tell you why?
No.
Did they ask you anything like who you are?
No. I tried to tell them